Thank you for trusting us and buying this course. You were drawn to this video because your relationship is problematic. But that's okay. Especially if your relationship is still intact for now, you still have opportunities for change. Because even if you are already over the breakup mentally, it's not like those feelings you once had for your partner have suddenly died out completely. Even if he says so, in practice, these feelings can be awakened, especially if you find out what went wrong and what you can still do to influence these feelings and bring them to the surface so that your partner starts loving you again. So, even if your relationship has broken down, or you are already over the breakup, a lot can still be done. If it is still prior to a breakup situation but in crisis, you have everything ahead of you to process. The most important thing is to act sensibly, not to preempt or prejudge things, and not to listen to your intuition, which in such situations very often tells you the wrong things, and can even be harmful. It would help if you first listen to this course advice, which I will present in the following recordings. In this part of the course, you will learn why relationships fall apart. Some relationships break up because someone has unresolved issues, and there are still feelings for his or her ex living inside. Sometimes it's that we see some qualities in the other person that we don't like. We have previously built up a different vision of this person, and we cannot simply tolerate a certain thing. Sometimes it is the case that we build toxic relationships with people to fill deep voids within ourselves, and we feel that the other person completes us by filling those voids and creating a toxic dependence or bond in order to build all of our happiness based on our relationship with that person. But all these reasons are not the most important ones, which affect many relationships, which are often successful, long-term relationships, where people are happy with each other and not knowing why these relationships at some stage most often go through crises. What is the reason for this? To answer why most relationships fall apart, it is impossible not to mention this book, The 5 Love Languages. This is the world's most popular guide for married couples. This is a book written by Gary Hoffman. This writer was born back in the 1930s. He was already involved in couples therapy in the 1970s, and this book was first published in 1992. It is a book that is still very relevant and current today. It is not intended solely for married couples. It is also intended for people generally in serious relationships. Even many singles will find wisdom for themselves. How do you build relationships wisely? How do we understand love and falling in love properly? This book's most important thing is that most people confuse love with affection. Because since childhood, this is how we talk about love, how we feel love, and that love is a feeling born within us. In some ways, this is how we feel love on a human level. In light of this book, in light of most psychologists, it is now believed that love is not a feeling. A feeling is a crush that occurs when we meet someone we start to like and love. However, it is a decision. In conclusion, love is not to say that because I love you, I do these different things related to you. Only we can say that because I decide to continue to love you and develop our love, I do various things that are attitudes resulting from love, and that is why I can say that I love you. That is, it's not that I do all these things because I love you, it's that I decide to love you, so I do all these things. And that's what it means that I love you. And now we get to the heart of the matter, precisely these 5 love languages that we can say we use in these emotional spheres. Gary Chapman, resulting from all of the therapies and tens of thousands of couples he has researched, has concluded that all of the ways that we show affection to the other party can be segregated into 5 languages. Each of us speaks a little bit of each of these languages. Some are easier for us, some are more difficult for us, and most often, there is one language that for ourselves is the most natural love language. It is the one we learned in our childhood. So, what are these 5 love languages? The first love language is words of affirmation. That is, we tell the other party that he or she is important to us, appreciate him or her, and praise the other party. It is sometimes supporting the other person that we see some potential in someone. For example,
"You're doing great with that guitar playing. Maybe you should join some band. You should take that promotion. You'll do well."
These are all the words we say to the other person to make them feel appreciated, to make them feel fantastic, to make them feel important to us. The second love language is quality time. We can say such valuable time spent with the other person. These are all the conversations that we sit down one-on-one and talk about. Not on such organizational topics, but we talk about important issues and what's happening in our lives. These are also all those entertainments we treat ourselves to do certain things together. It is not like we do separate training, you exercise separately to me. It means that we go to this training together, and it's not the effect itself that's important, but that we do it together. The third type of this love language is acts of service. This means we want to somehow relieve a particular person in something to help them with something. For example, someone would do something for you, wash the dishes for you, know you had to go somewhere, pick up something from the post office and do it for you. These are all cases when someone sees that you are getting ready for a presentation at work and someone sits down and says,
I'll help by quizzing you on this.
because a favor like this comes under this love language example. The fourth love language is physical touch. There are people for whom it is mega important for someone to hold their hand and hug them. When going through tough times, it is in those times when you touch even a shoulder, it gives that feeling of closeness, someone sitting next to you, even if in silence. For these people, this physical proximity will be a very overt sign that someone is close and cares. The fifth language of love is receiving gifts. These gifts are understood not only as something in a box tied with a bow. A gift can also be a message, and it can be a photo that someone sends us because there is a beautiful sunset, and someone wants to share it with us. A gift can be a note, a leaf, or something written for us in the mirror. The gift here can be anything that can be such a material symbol of the love that unites us. Each of us, on the one hand, speaks all the languages of love. That is, on a conscious level, we appreciate each of these languages. But on the other hand, we have one language that, for us, is the most natural, and that for us, is the most crucial. This book will allow you to identify your leading love language. Some of you have something that you guess which language is most natural for you. But if you have doubts, read this book because you can learn about yourself from psychological tests. Another thing is that you should persuade your partner to also take such a test for himself. Sometimes it's not easy, so this book will also tell you how to recognize the other person's love language. A hint from me. We often give the love we most want to receive ourselves. If, in a certain way, you see that your partner most often shows a certain type of affection, it is most likely the type of affection he would like to get from you. So what is the relationship between the 5 love languages and the most common reason relationships break up? Successful relationships have worked well for many years, where people have been close to each other. These are the different love languages. That is the fact that our partner doesn't necessarily speak our love language as the primary language, and we, by guesswork, most often want to give the love we would like to receive. That is, we want to show love for our partner and speak the love language. That is, we want to give him a lot of our free time, spend time with him, and talk to him. This person may feel misunderstood and need us to help him with something because he is somehow overburdened. Very often, couples who have been together for many years get caught up in this daily routine, a mass of responsibilities, and their time for each other is limited. Once they find some time together, they often try to show the other person this love in the most natural language. That is, a couple with many children, where there is simply a mass of responsibilities, and the husband, for example, can, as he feels that he can first show his love to his family by ensuring a good livelihood. Such a person takes on some extra work, works after hours, and has the impression that he loves this family of his so much, and at the same time, this wife of his may have the impression that he probably does not love them at all and has already forgotten about her. Such a partner may stop feeling like a wife for the reason that, after all, he doesn't have time for her at all, and she would prefer that instead of more money to bring home, he sit down with her and devote 10 minutes of his time in the evening to talk to each other. And even though sometimes two people may have excellent intentions and genuinely love each other because they don't understand each other's love languages, there can be a huge feeling that our partner doesn't understand and doesn't love us. For example, in this book, you will find many authentic stories of couples who have gone through therapy with Herman. And what's most astonishing is that this book shows that the vast majority of situations could be salvaged. That is, two people who thought it was no longer possible to salvage what used to be between them, that they had completely stopped understanding each other, that this person used to be completely different but now seems alien. This book helps two people start showing love to each other again so that the other person feels loved and understood. And this is the most essential power of this book. I encourage each of you to reach out to this book to read it, no matter what stage of a relationship you are currently in, whether you are just looking for the source of the problems, whether you are fresh from a breakup and want to understand why you broke up in the first place, or maybe you are in a relationship where some stagnation has crept in. I invite you to the next section. If you liked the material, leave a like and send it to a friend or someone close to you who may benefit from this knowledge. If you want to support our work and help us create more valuable videos, there is a link in the description.